There's no better education than getting out and seeing the world.
The experiences are what you're going to remember in the long run.
Getting out to see the world has just really opened my eyes to a lot of things.
I know a little bit about a lot of random things, and that's because of travel.
We're going to learn so much more and stay up to date with these destinations.
It's going to help us get even better at building group itineraries.
I'm really looking forward to having great conversations about places.
Welcome to Destination Dispatch.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Delleman with Group Travel Odyssey. And as we said, welcome to Destination Dispatch. What is Destination Dispatch, you may ask? Well, what we're planning on doing is we want to take you to some really amazing group-friendly destinations. Let you know a little bit more about them. Or maybe I should say we're going to bring these group-friendly destinations to you. We're going to bring on some of the experts that know and love these areas, and they're going to end up actually giving you the information that you need so you can book your groups into these fantastic places. Before we go any further, I do want to remind you, if you are just joining us, to make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's right down here. You can hit that subscribe button. If you ring the bell as well, it will notify you anytime that we do have new content on our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on LinkedIn, Group Travel Odyssey, and you can like our Group Travel Odyssey Facebook page as well. Today, I have somebody special joining me as a co-host, and this is the host of a really fantastic podcast called Destinations Beyond Expectations. Please welcome Stevie G. Stevie, welcome.
Jim, oh my gosh, the day's finally here. It's episode number one of Destination Dispatch.
I know it's been planned for quite some time, and as I was saying, we want to try to give people an idea about some really fantastic places to take their groups that they may not know much about, or it may not be on the top of their mind all the times.
Yeah, I think, the first episode that we have lined up today is not a major city, but it's certainly a place with a lot of outdoor opportunities, a great place to kind of get away. And whether you're an individual traveler or a group, I think it's fantastic for groups. But I'm really excited to learn so much more about Mackinaw City.
I am too. I mean, we've heard a lot about it. We've got a lot of people that have traveled there and have given us such great feedback about it. But now we're going to kind of dive in a little bit more and find out what makes it so special and why these groups keep going back year after year after year. So please join me in welcoming the group sales director from the Mackinaw City Chamber of Tourism, Sabrina Lieghio. Sabrina, welcome.
Hello. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for joining us today. As we were saying, Mackinaw City, people know very few things about a lot of the specifics, but they know about Mackinac Island. They know about Mackinaw City. But what makes it so special for groups?
So Mackinaw City actually has so much to offer because, first of all, it's kind of the center spot of all the great places to check out when you come to the northern Michigan region. Mackinaw City is a great place for people of all ages, whether you're coming with your families, your significant other, or you want to just have an adventure. Mackinaw City is beautiful because it's right on the water. You have Lake Michigan, Lake Huron right there at your fingertips. It's super easy to get right over to the Mackinac Island where it's kind of like going back in time because everything's all restored in that Victorian style. And it's just, I don't know, like even going up to the UP, that's something I highly recommend for people to do that they don't always check out. So yeah, Mackinaw City is just, I don't know, there's just so many different things to check out.
Well, and Mackinaw City is actually the northernmost point on the lower peninsula, right?
Yes. Yep. That is correct, which is why it's such a perfect spot because it's economical in the sense that you're not spending as much as you would on Mackinac Island. It has more of a nightlife. So let's say if you want to spend 3 to 5 days in Mackinaw City, that can be your main point. You can jump to Traverse City for a day or go up to Pictured Rocks for another day or spend a day on the island. It's just a great spot to that you can start from, have a beautiful evening where there's live entertainment and enjoy your nights on the beaches and so on in those regards.
So you touched on this a little bit, but I kind of want to get into this a little further. There's Mackinaw City and then there's Mackinac Island. Can you maybe just kind of describe the difference between the two and the proximity?
Yes. So Mackinac Island is probably, that's probably what people hear more of simply because that's where you have the Grand Hotel and everything's still restored in a very proper way. They won't let you modernize anything. So like I was saying, it's like you're really stepping back in time. They have no vehicles. It's all horse and buggy. And yeah, they have a lot of fun little things to check out over there. Then Mackinaw City, what's different about that? And that's where most of the locals live. That's where a lot of people choose to stay because, like I mentioned before, for those economical reasons, and also because you do have more activities to do throughout the day. And like, especially during the summer, this year we're planning on having fireworks on free Friday and Tuesday night right outside behind the hotels, right on a little barge in the water. So that's super exciting for us. Definitely more upkeep and different stores are coming into Mackinaw City as well. So I think people choose to stay there because not only is it more convenient, like I said before, to get to those different locations, also for money wise, and to kind of really stretch out your days from like morning to night. Because on the island, things kind of close a little bit earlier compared to the city, the mainland, where there's different things to check out throughout till like 2 a.m.
That's fantastic.
Mhm.
You've already mentioned Mackinac Island, and really interesting that there's no cars on
Mhm.
Mackinac Island. So it's basically like you said, it is taking you back to a different era, which is fantastic. Other than Mackinac Island, what would you say are some of the unique offerings that you have for groups in Mackinac City?
So one of my favorite that I feel as though not, especially outsiders that have never been to the area know about, we have a Jack Pine Lumberjack show. And those are super exciting. They have the log rolling. They have they challenge each other to climbing these super tall poles. And it's a super fun and it's kind of a comedy show too that they do, but it's fantastic. They do an amazing job. Another thing too that's new in the area that I think is super exciting, right by us in Sheboygan, this family bought a glass boat, and they actually take you to go look at shipwrecks, and you can go snorkel down there, check those out. They actually found a message in a bottle that became like super viral, which is really exciting. And then also in Mackinaw City, there's amazing trails to check out, like at Mill Creek Campground. I mean, at the historic Mill Creek, they have all these, I think it's like 500 acres on there that you guys can check out. And then there is also the headlands where they have a dark sky park. So at night, there's no light pollution. And sometimes they have astronomers that are there. And that is incredible to see. And especially from people in the city that aren't blessed to see all those stars at night over there. It's insane and super clear. So that's something that's super fun to check out. And also the crossings is made up of the little shopping center here in town. And it has about, I believe, over 50 little stores. And each one of those is super unique. And there's some where they have kind of a museum of the Mackinac Bridge, and actually have parts of the bridge that you can check out and that they forged. And then there's also another place called Forge where you can actually make your own knives and everything using different materials from the bridge. And yeah, just a lot of new and exciting things that are coming to the area, which I'm excited about.
Yeah. Now, off air, before we even started this live stream, we were talking a little bit about, how you were telling us Mackinaw City was doing so great despite the challenges the world has faced over the last couple of years. In fact, it was, I believe you were saying, it's been the best last couple of years ever on record for tourism. What do you think has lent Mackinaw City the ability to be so successful in the last couple of years? And maybe it's the outdoor opportunities, but I mean, tell us more about that.
Well, I think really it's the mindset that everybody because here it's pretty much all locals that were born and raised here. So we've all had the mentality that hospitality is, our livelihood. That is, the most important things for us. So when people come to the area, we really strive to make them, feel at home, and we do like everything they can to make sure that they want to come back. And it's been super great because nobody here like really shut down. They're like, nope, we're gonna fight through this. We want people to come. We don't want Mackinaw City to like die for a few summers. Like, it's kind of impossible for us. And yes, it was super helpful that we do have the outdoors, because as I was saying earlier, it was very much a safe haven for everybody. They think, okay, Northern Michigan, we can easily spread out and everything. We have different options where we don't have to be in super close proximities, but we can still have a vacation with our families. We can still have fun. We can go to the beach and go eat outside, and all these things that they didn't have to necessarily be as concerned about as if they were to travel other places. And this upcoming year already for groups, it's looking pretty great, because I compared it to the numbers in 2019 pre-COVID, and we're actually already beat that record in terms of reservations. So I'm very excited, and I'm just ready to get Mackinac rolling all over again. These winters are tough. So
And you were also showing us a little bit about your winters too, because before we got on air, we got to see that the frozen lake is right outside your window, and you were saying even in the wintertime, a lot of times if it'll freeze over, and they'll put Christmas trees all the way over from the mainland to Mackinac Island, correct?
Yes, we have to get very creative in the winter. We actually just had our Winterfest a few weeks ago, and that's where we have outhouse races, where we line up the street with literally like blocks of snow and ice, and local businesses will make outhouses to represent themselves, and they'll have like people race each other, and they win little toilet seats that are either first, second, and third. So it's a really weird thing that we do up here, but that's something that brings people to the area, and snowmobilers are pretty much our only business during the winter. So God bless them.
So what are the peak months for groups? I mean, what's the best season, or maybe not the best season, but what's the most popular season for groups to make their way to Mackinac?
So the busy seasons of Mackinac are beginning in May to the end of October. But for groups, I recommend May and June, and September and October, because that's when you're going to get the cheaper rates. Those are really focused on groups those months. All the businesses kind of cater themselves for groups for those months specifically, because once you reach the June through August, it's insane over here. Super, super busy, where it's kind of more difficult to properly cater to groups. So like those cusp months really help out. And a lot of people don't even think about coming in October, but the colors, when everything changes, it's wonderful. It's so beautiful over here, especially if you go, it's a place called the Tunnel of Trees that a lot of people don't really know about. I highly recommend people to come check that out, because that's just beautiful. So
that's fantastic. What do you think is something that every group should include in their visit to Mackinac City?
Something I definitely recommend that I already mentioned was the Jack Pine Lumberjack Show.
Okay.
Another thing too that a lot of people I feel like don't properly utilize is the icebreaker. It was used in World War II, and now they've made it a museum for people to check out, and it is super cool. We also have forts both here in Mackinaw City, on the island, and lighthouses that people can check out. Those are super fun, but some hidden gems that people don't really think of. A little bit south of us, it's about 30 minutes. It's called Big Bear Adventures, and you can actually like raft and tube down this very quick river that a lot of people don't know about. That's super fun to do with the family, and they even have a miniature golf course right by them. But yeah, those are definitely some hidden gems. And like I mentioned before, that glass boat in Sheboygan where you can actually snorkel through like the shipwrecks and everything. It's just something that you can't really do in other areas. So I definitely recommend people to utilize these things that we have, these odd things that we have here in Northern Michigan. So those are some different options.
Yeah, and maybe what I'm about to ask you is included in what you just said. But if someone visited, Mackinac City 5 or maybe 10 years ago, Is there something there now that maybe wasn't there in the past that groups can take advantage of?
Oh yeah, no, so much has actually like changed over the years. Like obviously you're still gonna have those historical parts. That did not change at all. But there's a lot of new and exciting restaurants. A lot of because of the changing demographics too, that Mackinac before was only really focused on being a family destination. Now that there's a younger crowd, there's a lot of new like breweries, beer and wine stores where you can actually do tastings. Those are super fun. There is the first restaurant that's actually built right on the water. It's called The Hook, and that has amazing food and views that you're eating right on the marina, which is something we didn't have earlier. And then, like I mentioned, the crossings. Every year, there's new stores that come in, and those are all super fun and exciting. And like the way that those people how they represent their stories. They do an amazing job. They really do. They have some really creative things in there that I recommend people check out every single store. Some new things though, like I mentioned, Dark Sky Park is definitely new. Something I forgot to mention that I highly recommend people to do is we do have a parasailing here in town that is the way that they go right by the Mackinac Bridge and everything. You can see so many cool, I mean, it's a different view for sure. Something new also, every now and then there's a helicopter that comes into town and they'll take people on rides and they'll go all around the straits. But they come as they please. So you're lucky if you get that when you come. But the fireworks I mentioned as well, those are something that's new for Mackinaw City. For the past 2 years, that's when they first did it. Every Friday night was the fireworks right in the water, but this year we're doing it for 2 nights. So I'm really excited about that because it's something extra that people get when they come to the area. In terms of other things that are new, I think it's just everybody kind of building up their businesses and modernizing it and having more opportunities for people. So that's kind of what we're looking at.
Excellent. Do you still do the bridge walk every
Yes.
year? Do they still do that?
I
Okay.
do. I do it every year. It's something I highly recommend for everybody. I've noticed I made the mistake this year bringing people that are deathly afraid of heights. There's a part where you have to walk on grates if it's busy, and that didn't go very well. But yes, that is something that is super cool. Before you could only, there was buses that would take you from one side and you would walk to the other side. There's no more buses anymore. So that's something that's changed within the last few years. So now you have the choice of walking 10 miles, doing, halfway and then walking back, or doing whatever you please. But I'm lucky that my mother likes to do the 10 miles. So that's what we do.
That's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
It is. Well, and it's interesting because that Mackinaw City, that bridge is like the largest single span between like bridge abutments in the nation. And so,
Yes.
I mean, it's a massive bridge and people don't realize, oh, you're walking over a bridge, but yeah, it takes a long time. It's
amazing. And there are a few different ways to check it out actually from underneath the bridge, because that's so cool to actually see the cars going on top of you. So both ferry lines, Starline and Shepler's, they have different times where they'll actually take you underneath the bridge before you get to the island. And then there's 2 other boat companies that are super cool. There's the Ugly Ann, and they make customizable tours for people. They go along the straits. And then there's also the Sip and Sail. So if you want to have a fun group where you're drinking on the boat and going around the straits, that's definitely the party boat to go on. So those are also other fun things to check out, which I will just keep throwing out throughout this. There's so much to do that I am like, oh yeah, I had to mention this too. So
well, I'm definitely a sip and sail kind of guy. So
yes,
that sounds like fun.
100%.
So you mentioned Sip and Sail. I'm curious, what kind of, do you get more adult groups, maybe student groups, all of the above? What kind of groups come to Mackinaw City?
So really it's all of the above. I get a lot of student groups and Girl Scout groups, and I get a lot of senior groups, and then people that are just like, hey, I want to plan something fun with my friends or have a family reunion. We really do it all. If somebody were to come to me and be like, I need this, I'm like, all right, let's do it. Like I've done a lot of new things too. And I've had some very odd groups that I didn't even know existed. So I will, whatever I can do to have like have people come up to the area and experience all that Northern Michigan has to offer, that's a win for me. So I'll take it.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, we look forward to hearing more, and we will be doing so right after our little break that we're going to take to hear a word from our partners.
Group Travel Odyssey would like to take a moment to thank our amazing partners, including Book My Group, Travel Advocates, We Travel, Broadway Inbound, and Fly My Group. These partnerships help make business without boundaries possible, and we encourage our viewers to learn more about these wonderful companies. Now, back to Destination Dispatch.
And we are back. What we're going to do now, we've learned some really fantastic things about Mackinaw City, and Sabrina, fortunately, has been able to give us a couple of sample itineraries of what your groups can do and experience while in Mackinaw City. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I want to show you briefly how these appear in our GTO system. And then also we're going to pull up one of the itineraries, and I'm going to have Sabrina just talk us through day by day what you can expect your groups to be doing when they come visit. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Please bear with me one moment. And here we go. So what we have, first of all, we have our trips actually already in the system. There is a trip for Mackinaw City, and it lists everything that is on this trip, all of the hotels, all of the events, all of the meals are listed here as you go down. And the way that you can find these is in our templates area. If you click on templates, you can see we do have the trip, Mackinaw City Chamber of Tourism. And if you look into the templates, you will be able to see that we have two proposals. We have a sample group itinerary template 1, and we have a sample student group itinerary. And the nice thing, again, any templates that we have in the system, you can copy these proposals, and then you can go ahead and attach them to the trip that you're building. So a lot of this planning work has already been done, which is really fantastic. It's going to save you a lot of time. What we're going to do then is we're going to take this sample student group itinerary, and we're going to pull this up. And this is the itinerary, Sabrina, that you had sent in. Why don't we go through this sample student group itinerary? Let me make that a little larger so we can see it. And take us through from the day of arrival to all the way until the time that they leave. So what are they going to do?
So, okay. As soon as you arrive to your hotel, you're usually greeted by the manager of the hotel. This one, for example, the Bridge Vista Beach, that one's located right on the water and actually has a water park attached to it. So that's super convenient. At 2:30, you could go to the historic Mill Creek Discovery Park, which I was talking about, has those amazing trails, but they also have a zip line that actually goes over the creek, which is super fun. And they also have a rock climbing wall, and they do, there's a reason why it's historic because they actually have a mill over there, and they have really great presentations that they do. They even have museums. So that's something for Mill Creek. And then we have animal tracks sorry, my eyesight. Afterwards, we had the dinner at the historic depot and the crossings. So as I was mentioning about the crossings has all those stores. They also have live entertainment, a big stage, and right by it, there's a restaurant called Historic Depot, and they have amazing sandwiches, and they really cater to the group. So with these meals that I'm going to be talking about, it doesn't have to necessarily be these. I work with other restaurants too, and I really work with, if there's a certain meal you want, I got you, we'll work it out. So these are just examples of where you could be eating. And then next we have Animal Tracks and Trappers Creek. Now these are two different golf courses. Animal Tracks is the one that's best located near town. So that's the one I usually recommend people to go. And that one's super fun because you still have 18 holes like you would at a regular golf course. It's a lot smaller. And up above you, there's actually people zip lining. So there's another zip lining option if people want to do that as well. Then there's a Jack Pine Lumberjack show that I was talking about earlier. which is super fun. It's about an hour and a half show. The guys do an amazing job, and they're actual real lumberjacks. They like went to school to become lumberjacks, which is insane, but I love it. And then every night in the crossings, there is a free laser light show that lasts about 35 to 40 minutes. And that is something that has also been updated since way back when. About 3 years ago, we completely redesigned the show and seems to be doing really well. And then the next day, everybody can do breakfast at the hotel. But since COVID, some different options that we have is all the hotels that I represent, you get a buy one, get one free discount at 2 different breakfast places in town, which are Toast to Go-Go or the Lighthouse, and highly recommend taking advantage of that as well. And then we get to arrive to Mackinac Island Ferry. Now, again, there's 2 different ferry lines here in town. There's Shepler's or Starline. The hotels will offer discounts for those, or through me, whichever people decide to do. But definitely, if you ever come to the area, utilize as many discounts as the hotel has. Like, go to the front desk and get those deals. So then after you get to the Mackinac Island, there's actually a carriage tour. So many horses on the island if you've never been. And this carriage tour is awesome. It's about 2 hours long, but it really takes you around all the way around the island, shows you all the main spots and all the different historical spots. They stop, they let you get off, and really check everything out. So that is something I highly recommend people take advantage of. Then we have Tour Fort Mackinac, and that was a fur trading post. And they do an incredible job in terms of their reenactments. They, light off cannons. They do their little shows every single day. And you can actually go into the buildings that they fix. I can't think of the word, not refurbished, but they fixed up in terms of how they used to look back in the day. And everybody's in their whole colonial outfits. Everybody's in their character as they're supposed to be. But that's another way to really feel like you're going back in time. And then you can have lunch on Mackinac Island at a few different places. A lot of people like to go to the Grand Hotel, where they can set up a luncheon. Otherwise, another place I send groups a lot of the time is the Yankee Rebel. There's not many places, many options in terms of groups for the island, because so many of those buildings are super small because of their styles. So for those, I definitely recommend even getting meals to bring out to the park and eat there right outside the fort. That's super fun. And then for the free time to explore downtown Mackinac Island, there's a lot of different shops, just like Mackinaw City, but there's also, I highly recommend people to check out the historic churches that they have. And there's even butterfly houses where you go, and the owner, he actually travels all around the world to research all these different butterflies and brings them back. He has an insect world that's super fun for people of all ages. And then that's pretty much when we would come back to the city. And you'd come back to the hotel, and then that's at Nona Lisa's. That's where we send a lot of the groups. It's a beautiful Italian restaurant that has all lit up trees inside, and it does have a lot of taxidermy if people have, but there are a lot of cool animals in there as well. It's an odd setup, but people love it as well. And then afterwards, we highly recommend the students to come back to the hotel and do enjoy the water park, because it's there, and it has a little lazy river and some slides and a pool, something fun to do in the area, or they can swim outside, their choice. And then for the next day, again, breakfast, you have your choices. And then there's a fort right here in town that was also a fur trading post. Now, this fort's located right underneath the Mackinac Bridge, so you have a beautiful view. This fort also has, different reenactments. They have people giving you tours. You can go inside the buildings. And actually, in October, there's it's called Fort Fright, and they'll make it a haunted fort, and they'll have guys dressed up as werewolves and skeletons, and they'll have hot cider and all those things. So if you come in October, definitely recommend utilizing that. And then right next to the fort, there's the old Mackinac Point Lighthouse, where you can actually go inside, even climb up the lighthouse and check out the little tower. They have museums, they have artifacts, and they do an amazing job as well in terms of, making sure everybody really understands what's going on in that lighthouse. So That's something a lot of people like, especially the seniors. Then we have lunch at Toast to Go-Go, which I mentioned is a breakfast place. So after 2:30, I close that place out completely, and that way it's the whole restaurant's just for the groups. So if they wanted to have something later on, they could do so. Otherwise, again, it says 12:30 on here, so I have other restaurant options as well. Then we have free time to explore Mackinac crossings in downtown Mackinaw City. So again, I mentioned all those different stores. There's even like axe throwing in there. You can go see how they make fudge. And then right by there, there's that big theater. So a lot of times they have live music, or my favorite is listening to people do karaoke. That's super entertaining. And then we have an actual new edition that wasn't here about 10 years ago. It's called Mystery Town USA. And it's actually really cool. So they made all these different rooms to kind of like immerse yourselves into different worlds. So they have like Atlantis and ancient Egypt and like the Loch Ness Monster. Every room you go to, like the way they designed everything is incredible. And a lot of people really seem to enjoy that. And it's not to be confused with the Mystery Point in the Upper Peninsula, which is also super cool because that really challenges your gravity and what you think is right, which is definitely not. It's a super fun thing to do as well. And then once we get to 6 o'clock, there's a pizza party at Bridge Vista, and that's where we'll actually, Nona Lisa's will actually cater this, and you'll have pizza, breadsticks, salads, drinks, and desserts. And a lot of people seem to enjoy that. People of all ages for sure. They do an amazing job with that. And then something I really like to do for the groups, no matter if they're staying at a hotel that's not on the water, I like to do bonfires on the beaches. So we'll set up s'mores, we'll get their seats set up, and they'll be right on the water. And if it's on one of those nights where they're doing the fireworks, it's perfect. So that's definitely something fun to utilize. And that kind of, that's the end of our journey. But if you wanted to add other days where you go up to the UP and do, Pictured Rocks to Quamanon Falls to Sioux Locks, there's just so much to do around here. And you can modify those itineraries however you'd like.
That's really amazing. I mean, I love a good bonfire on the beach too. I mean, what a great way to end your trip. It would be, creating a heck of a lot of memories there. And you mentioned stuff about the hotels, and it sounds like there's an abundance of hotels and group-friendly hotels there.
Yes, we really do. And we have some, for example, there's the Mackinac Beach and Bay. All of their rooms are actually lakefront suites at very economical prices. And they even have ballrooms attached to it. So it doesn't have to be a fancy event, but so many people like to utilize that big space. If, let's say, they have a meeting, or if they have, I don't know, if they want to do an expo or whatever they would like. It's for Mackinac, there's so many different like options in each property that so many people look for. Some people look for outdoor corridors, and other ones, they want everything inside, which is totally fine. But that's a nice thing, that there's all these different options that people can properly utilize. And when the groups do come here, I really try to let them, call the shots as much as they possibly can, because I understand that everybody's different. They have different things that make them happy and what they're looking for. So that's definitely something I recommend. And this is off topic, but I definitely have to hit on this. There's another thing that we do in town that a lot of people, that's how they properly get everything that there is to offer in Mackinaw City and the history behind Mackinaw City, is we have, it's called the Old Time Mackinaw Trolley. And that actually goes to each hotel, picks up their guests, and they'll give them an hour-and-a-half tour in Mackinaw City, go over the bridge and a little bit of St. Ignace, and drop them off wherever they want to be dropped off at. But I think that's something that a lot of people should utilize, because that's how you properly understand, the history behind Mackinac, what there is to do when you're in the area. And that really is something that people should probably do when they first get here, to really see what they're going to be experiencing.
That's really fantastic. Go ahead.
And I don't know if you saw this, Jim. We'd actually got a question in from Facebook. David was asking, where do you go in GTO to find these different templates or proposals for these destinations?
Absolutely. You can find those in Sales Manager. On your home screen in Sales Manager, there should be a button that says templates or list template trips. And when you go in that, you can just choose Mackinaw City, Mackinac Island. And when you choose that and bring that up, then you can go ahead and choose those proposals from under that trip. So again, it is in Sales Manager. If you're not able to find that, just shoot me a quick email and I will follow up with you so you can take a look. And we'll definitely show you where those are. But it's really nice because, as I said, it gives you a sample itineraries that you can actually use. And we will go ahead then and make sure that we can focus you to where that button is. So I will definitely follow up with you, David, on that.
Cool. Awesome.
Excellent. A couple other things. I know that we've been putting your website and stuff up here. How else can people find out more about Mackinaw City?
So there are a few different ways. We also have a Facebook called Mackinaw City Chamber of Tourism. You're also more than welcome to share my number and email. I am very available to everybody that is curious about the area, which is right there. So if you guys want to contact me with any questions, or if you have other ideas of, if you came here in the past and you want to change things up, I'm more than happy to help you out with that. So definitely contact me.
Excellent. Wonderful. We actually just had notification come into one of our users, David. They've got a trip coming up for the Memorial Day Parade. So they've got a group coming up to Mackinaw City. So you will be seeing some of the GTO groups coming up this spring. Definitely.
I'm happy to hear it. Yes. If they need anything, they can contact me. I'm here to help. So yes.
Most wonderful. Well, Sabrina, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And this gives us such a great overview of what there is to do in Mackinaw City and Mackinac Island. So thank you so much.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it.
No problem. I hope you can stay warm because as we were saying, we were talking a little bit before this about the difference in temperatures from where we all are. And you said, how cold is it where you are, Sabrina?
Today we have a heat wave of 5 degrees, so we're very lucky up here.
Yeah, and I'm in New York, and it's about 28 here. And Stevie, what's it like in Orlando?
We have surpassed the 80s. We're up in the 80s today, so it's nice and warm. A little hot, actually, might I say.
Oh gosh, that's not what I want to hear. But well, again, Sabrina, thank you so much. I hope that you will be seeing so many more groups coming up to Mackinaw City. And again, if people need to get in touch with you, I'm sure that they will. We have put your email address. We've got all your information as well on this. And for those of you again, that are watching afterwards, this is all on our YouTube channel, on our Group Travel Odyssey YouTube channel. So, we want to make sure that you can go ahead and tune in at any time, and you will be able to get Sabrina's information and find out even more about Mackinaw City and Mackinac Island. So thank you so much for joining us today, Sabrina.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. And Stevie, thank you for everything that you've done. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about your podcast and where it can be found?
Absolutely. Destinations Beyond Expectations is the podcast designed for students of travel. It can be found anywhere podcasts are listened to. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, all of the above. And new episodes come out every Friday. So we're going to have a fun new episode about Atlanta tomorrow. So go ahead and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. And it's Destinations Beyond Expectations.
That sounds fantastic. And also, we, as well as having a Destination Dispatch on Thursdays at 2 p.m. every week, we also have GTO Coach and Go. And that is something that I host on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. So Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m., you're going to be seeing quite a bit of us. And we're going to give you a lot of information about our GTO system and also some amazing information like we learned today about Mackinaw City. We have some great destinations lined up so you can find out even more about some really incredible group-friendly places that you can bring your groups this year. We know that tourism and planning group travel is coming back and it's very busy. We want to make sure you have all of the information that you need to feature some of these really fantastic locations. So we do want to thank you. If you want to find out any more about Group Travel Odyssey, you can go to our website. It's grouptravelodyssey.com. And if you would like to see a demonstration, if you need anything, if you have any questions, all of our information is on there, and you can definitely contact us from there. So we want to thank you so much for joining us, and we do hope to see you again next week. Have a fantastic week and a wonderful weekend.
Thank you for watching this episode of Destination Dispatch. We invite you to stay connected with Group Travel Odyssey on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and be sure to check out more of our media, including GTO Coach and Go and the Destinations Beyond Expectations podcast. Please visit our website, grouptravelodyssey.com, where you can learn more about GTO and request a demo. Group Travel Odyssey, business without boundaries.